So how to make this wonderful dish, my potato, beef, vegetable, green bean, cheese casserole. 2 large potatoes, sliced cylinderically, soaked in water, cold water, rinsed, dried, and this is then placed in boiling water for about 5 to 8 minutes, depending on the thickness of the sliced potatoes. If they are too thin, you don't want to place them in the water too long, they'll turn into mush. So just a dante. Then drain them and let them dry again. Place them down into your casserole dish. First, olive oil on the bottom, and then your potatoes, because you're going to layer it. Place them down, sprinkle a little salt, pepper, or seasoning of your choice. I use Mediterranean seasoning sparingly, za'atar, ras hanout, a little nutmeg, pepper and salt, and then put a layer of your meat over it. After you put a layer of your meat over it, then sprinkle fresh grated quality cheese, not too much on the first layer, just a little. Then layer the rest of the potatoes, the sliced potatoes. Do the same thing. Sprinkle a little seasoning over them, just a little olive oil, not much. That was just at the bottom. And then a little cheese. Put your meat on top of the potatoes and sprinkle a little cheese over that layer. The middle layer can have a little more cheese than the bottom layer. Then once that's done, then your top layer, put another of your potato slices over that. Sprinkle a little olive oil and seasoning of your choice. And then put the meat sauce over that, the rest of your meat sauce, with speckled cheese. The top layer is going to have a little more cheese than all the other layers, and bake it. The mixed cheese should be a kind of a mozzarella, jack, cheddar mix, and bake it. I bake it with a covering over it so as not to burn the cheese too soon. So I bake it with a cover over it for about 20 to 35 minutes at about 350 to 370 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I take the top off and let it bake and crust the top with the cheese. And then last, and that's only for about 10 minutes. And then lastly, I sprinkle fresh Parmesan. After I've turned it off, I sprinkle fresh Parmesan over the top of it. And then I speckle the top with a little herbs, the cheese. And depending on how crusty you want that top layer of Parmesan, you can put it under the broiler for 1 minute, or just continue to let it bake until the top layer of the Parmesan gets a little crustier. Then take it out. And before you serve it, make a tablespoon of butter with about a teaspoon of paprika. If you want more of the paprika butter, you can do a tablespoon and a half of butter and a teaspoon and a half of paprika. The butter first, add the paprika, and then let it boil for about, I would say, 30 seconds. When you see it sizzling, 30 seconds. 15 to 30 seconds is enough. And then stir it together, mix it together, all together. And then you can pour that, you drizzle that paprika butter over top, all of the top of your casserole. Or you can do it as you serve it per dish. Scoop it out and then drizzle as you serve it over the plate for each person. It's like a gravy, but it's a paprika butter. And there's your dish. Now, How to prepare the meat. I use ground beef. You can use a blend of ground beef and lamb. The first thing I do is I saute my vegetables. I get my shredded vegetables, carrots, celery, and onion, red and yellow onion, and garlic. I tend to roast my garlic first and then add my garlic to the mix after the garlic's roasted, the taste of the roasted garlic. You can just wrap a whole garlic clove in aluminum foil, bake it for 12 minutes in the oven or toaster oven, bring it out and it squeeze right out. Or you can just use minced garlic while you're making the onions and everything else. Onions and celery shredded, really nice. Carrots shredded. I use a couple of carrots, a couple of celery, stalk, and onion. I get it all shredded. And then I saute it in olive oil and butter, salt, pepper. I get that all nice and semi-caramelized with the onion. And if, as I said, if you want to use regular garlic instead of the roasted one at the end, that's fine. And you get that all mixed together. You can add a little broth to it, water or broth, so it's not too dry. And then add your meat. And depending on how much you want to make, right? Just add your meat and break it up and get that all. Get your really good ground beef and get it all grounded up and get that all. And if it's not ground enough, put the meat inside a blender and blend it. But get it all grounded up. You can tell from the video what the texture should be. And get that all grounded up in the pan. Add a little liquid. Add your seasonings to it, right? Garlic salt, onion salt, real garlic, roasted garlic, or your minced garlic, or the garlic I was cooking with the onion, right? And you do that. Add your pepper, add your salt. The flavors that I use are a combination of thyme and rosemary. In this case, I had no rosemary on the one that you tasted. I used basil because I had it. And I used za'atar and ras el hanout, a little nutmeg. Mediterranean seasoning, a little nutmeg, za'atar, ras el hanout, pepper, salt. Anise. If you have anise, it's great. I also add fennel seeds. So the fennel seeds I actually cooked with the onions and carrots and everything that was making that base, right? You get that? And that's how you do that. And you make that wonderful. It's absolutely delicious. With the anise or the fennel will give you that unique Italian flavor. And so just mix that all in to the levels that you like for the flavor that you desire, and get that all mixed in with your ground beef, sauteing down with all of those onions, carrots, and things that have caramelized, and you're getting that and you're browning it. And you're adding a little liquid. Like I said, if you have broth, bone broth, chicken broth, vegetable broth, that's fine. You don't want it too liquidy, but you want it liquid enough that it's not dry. Olive oil and butter. Obviously the olive oil when you're grilling the onions and everything. I do a few tablespoons of olive oil. The butter more at the end than anything. But you get that all, and then as I said, add your little liquid, your water. And last but not least, not necessary, but if you have red wine, that's where you use it. I don't really drink alcohol, but I use it for cooking. So you can use your little good cooking red wine. It cooks the alcohol out, so don't worry about that part of it. It's mostly for flavor. So I use about a half a cup to 3/4 cup of red wine, and I get that all cooked in. Then I add a couple of tablespoons of sour cream into the meat. And then I add, last but not least, cut string beans. Just short cut string beans. You can do long and then cut them in half, but the shortcut, I use frozen. They don't have to be absolutely fresh. Flash frozen is pretty good because it's fresher. I think many times they get it right off the farm and then they flash freeze it, and it's great and it's wonderful. And you just let that saute to cook the string beans into the sauce while it's cooking slowly and marinating, so the string beans get cooked and absorb it for about 20 to 25 minutes on low heat, or enough heat where it's kind of doing a little sizzle. To get that mixed in, keep it covered, and let that absolutely saturate the vegetables. And that is the meat sauce that you have been layering in between your potatoes. That's how you do it. So how to make this wonderful dish My potato, beef,